Welcome back to class, everyone.
Oh my God. What's your name this week?
I don't have a name.
Oh, he is one without name.
I am the thing.
The thing. The mind.
Los Spiritos.
Just like this gaseous form with this literally a being just wrinkles. You're just a floating wrinkle.
I'm just one with the world right now.
Yeah, and I'm your confused Professor Ricky.
I just got out of the Matrix.
You just get out of the Matrix? I'm confused because this past weekend I was hopping around the city, having some fun, and we were talking about Uber rides, and I had one where this guy was like just pissed that I was in his Uber, which was weird to me because that's your entire business model is to have people in your car.
Right.
And he's like forcing conversation. He didn't want to have like, so where are you guys coming from? I'm like, we cannot do this. Like, you can earn 5 stars with no mouth movement.
Yeah. In fact, that is preferable in most cases.
I don't mind it. Like, where are you heading to? And I say, this isn't a taxi. You can just look at the app. Yeah, everything's cool.
You already know where we're going, bud.
Yeah, that's kind of the entire 21st century business model. It seems like he was an older fella, so maybe he was just like one of those grouchy old men, just like fucking millennials.
I'm sure he was just, looking for some human interaction.
Yeah,
maybe
true.
Some connection.
You're right. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't give him such a harsh...
Maybe you're an asshole.
Yeah, maybe I'm the bad guy. I shouldn't give him such a harsh criticism of... Maybe he had a long day. He's just one too many people threw up in the back seat, and he's just like, I'm done. If I get one more 20 to 30-something-year-old in the back of my car, I'm going to freaking lose it. And here I walk up like the bad guy into his car. He was just hoping for someone who knew every word to all Bruce Springsteen. And here I am out here like just vibing a little Nas or something like that.
Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen. But 21st century Ubers, you win some, you lose some. But speaking of public transportation, more private transportation, we have a show today that is the talk of the town in a big way. But again, this may be one that me and Ethan are kind of on the other ends with.
Yeah. We're diametrically opposed on this show. And it's crazy because everyone in the Discord that we've seen that have watched it enjoyed it. This is ODDTAXI we're talking about.
Yes, a 2021 current seasonal anime from, I think, PICS or something like that. Yeah, I don't know, something like that. But yeah.
Sounds irrelevant enough to do something like this.
Exactly. Right. It's definitely
niche.
For lack of a better term, it's an odd aesthetic show. It's an odd narrative show. Yeah. But something about it for me really struck some serious chords, though. And with Ethan, maybe, what did you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I was extremely bored.
Whoa.
I honestly didn't think it did really a whole lot super well. I'll be honest. I think the aesthetic was really good, and I think that the OP is brolic.
Oh yeah, it's very jazz hop kind of.
Yeah, really, really solid.
Really chill. So gonna have to dig into this one because you'll notice the last and diligent students will pick this one out pretty quick. The last two, including this one and last one, that we've done, we've kind of sat on opposite ends of the spectrum here about our takeaways from these shows, and there seems to be a common thread here, Ethan.
What's that?
The elephants in the room, the
tigers, you like little animals?
What do you, dude?
You love little animals banging on screen?
We want to do this right now?
I
don't mind them, and they seem to be a sticking point with you, which, again,
Look, if I wanted to watch animals banging, I'd watch National Geographic, gosh darn it.
And you know what?
Or Discovery.
You are entitled to that opinion. Actually, frankly, I'm in your camp on that one. I don't really particularly like to see animals banging all the time like Nat Geo, right?
Right.
But this is a show that used those, that had that narrative and visual choice to use animals. I didn't see any of that. I didn't see much gore. I didn't see much sexual shit. I think there was one scene, where you kind of had like a sexual situation with the use of animals in this show. Other than that, benign on all fronts. So this is why I'm curious, is like, okay, it wasn't the animals doing that kind of explicit stuff, so where is it?
I don't know if the animals is necessarily my issue with this. It felt like such a dull show. Like there was zero spice to it, in my opinion. It was like it could not have been more transparent.
Okay.
I felt.
Really? So so me showing you the theory, and we'll get into spoilers later. You caught that early?
Yeah, I mean, like
Really?
I said, me and Pat Bot had watched it.
Yeah.
Pretty much the first time they met the cops, I was on your theory train.
Okay.
Because it was just like too weird.
I had that theory in my mind, and I'm like, no, I didn't entertain it. I'm like, it doesn't make sense until I started seeing the little things here and there.
Yeah, and there's too much like, how can you tell them apart?
Right.
Yeah, I know, that kind of stuff. It's just like, that's weird.
This is going to be another one of the spoiler heavy ones, so we'll let you know when we're about to hit Spoiler City, USA, but let's hit you with the top level. We got ourselves a walrus taxi driver named Hiroshi Odakawa. And he is he is my fucking spirit animal, man. He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck in the best way.
Yeah.
I kind of dug that. But he's a taxi driver. He gives no shits. He's a taxi driver in Tokyo. Like, you have to give no shits. Imagine of all the shit he deals with.
Though
right?
we do need a lot. We could easily use his help on our Tokyo GeoGuessers.
Oh, dude, he would be the ringer.
Yeah.
He would be the guy. 5 minutes? Nah. 30 seconds. Literally just, there's a sign. Oh, I know where we are.
That's the store.
Perfect.
That's the store next to that one beer place that one time that I went to.
I dropped off that llama or whatever the fuck.
There's a bath near there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the 7-Eleven over in Saitama Prefecture.
Yeah.
No big deal. Yeah, I know where that is. I was there on Tuesday. But, yeah, and I think the first thing I liked about this show is that a lot of the drive and the conflict and the narrative push was centered around the nexus point of a taxi driver, which to me makes a lot of sense just from a top level thing. Because like taxi drivers see and hear a lot of shit from people, and you almost don't really think, kind of with my segue at the beginning, those kind of drivers, they almost feel a little invisible. You may talk about shit you may not intentionally want to talk around other people, but taxi drivers, Uber drivers, they kind of have like that, I don't know, not really their presence. They're kind of just doing a job.
Yeah, I've had some pretty tactless friends that were like semi-drunk, just say way too much in front of Uber drivers. I'm like, all right, guys, let's wait till we get back.
Yeah, guys, read the Honda. Like, this is not the place to talk about.
Read the Odyssey, boys.
Yeah, this Kia Soul isn't the place to talk about what you're about to talk about. And to that end,
this Tesla X with his dog in the front seat is not the right place for this.
That seems very specific. You looking the Uber luxury lately, the Uber Black? Is that what
we've done it once?
Oh, okay. Yeah, just feeling that high life a little bit.
Yeah, but for some reason his dog was in the front seat.
So this is real.
Yeah.
Oh, word. Okay.
All of my bad Uber experiences were in Philadelphia.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I've been to Philadelphia once or twice now and can confirm. Nothing against the city, something against the Uber driver. Admittedly. Admittedly.
Big issues with them.
Yeah. But yeah, so using
Hey man, do you work out? What the
Wait.
Why ask me that?
Hold on. Someone asked you that?
Yeah.
Oh. This is a tangent I kind of want to hear.
There's no story to it. It was like out of the fucking blue, this huge dude. He was like a big guy. And we had all the seats taken, so I had to sit in the front, and he was like talking to us about sports and stuff, and he's like, do you play sports? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
Statistically, probably.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing right now?
It's like, I have in the past.
Yeah, I've sportsed once or twice in my day, sir.
I've sports balled.
Yep. Scored those touch pars. But yeah, so I mean, using a taxi driver as a narrative hook is not anything revolutionary. I imagine there's other narratives that do something similar. Nothing really comes to mind in my mind right now.
There's actually a show on Netflix about a late night ramen diner.
Pretty cool.
Which is essentially the same thing.
Same shtick.
Okay. Late night people talk about shit,
I like that. See? And it's not
barbers.
Barbers, yeah. There's probably a lot of professions that
salon places.
Yeah, I feel like that's another profession that like they
preach, bitch.
Yeah,
preach.
Some therapy going on for free. I mean, yeah. So I liked that aspect of it. It made a lot of sense, though. The one small interesting knock I'll give that Otakawa as a character seemed really, really intuitive as a human being, like as a walrus being, essentially. Like he wanted to like kind of inject himself into the things he's starting to web together, right? And he seemed
that was, I guess, one of my problems is he goes from like pretending like he wants nothing to do with it and then just getting like way too involved.
Yeah, and like I think there were the events in this story to make him want to get involved, but it came too little too late.
There's also like a strange lack of cast.
You think so?
I really didn't feel like there was that many people if you think about it.
I'm thinking of like maybe a dozen people.
For 14 episodes, like...
Sure. But I will say, and we could talk about whether this is true or not. I was getting real Durarara vibes from what they were trying to do here.
Yeah, and Patrick said that as well. He's like, they clearly want to be Durarara, but they're not even anywhere close.
Right. So I can respect the try, but I don't know if it couldn't achieve what Durarara managed to do, which is just absolute brilliance. But they went for it. They went for kind of this mystery element in the greater Tokyo area. They had the animal spin to everything, which fine. But they also had the taxi driver be the nexus point where people were coming in and out of his cab, and he started to piece together. But he was also kind of forcibly thrusted into it, like in the beginning when he was held at gunpoint by Dobu.
Yeah.
And he was kind of forced to be involved. So I can at least give him a pass for suddenly getting really involved, because it's like, and all the way through it, he's like, I really, really don't want to fucking do this. Like, I really don't. But at the same time, you really seem to put in some serious effort into all that. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's just like my issue is he acts like he wants nothing to do with it. And then he's just like I really don't see, like if Shirakawa and him had been dating for a while or something, that would have made sense.
Yeah.
But it's like barely the embers of a relationship in the beginning. And he's just like, no, I'm going to get her entire debt erased. I'm going to get involved in these insanely bad crimes for no reason.
Right.
I'm going to cover up this crime.
Yeah.
I'm going to put other people in harm's way. Like, it was just so, like, willfully, like, unabashedly crazy.
And I don't even think it was necessarily, I can at least, again, give him a pass on him getting involved. Just like, fuck, like, they drug me into this. I'm going to try to do what I can to get myself out. He was a little too big brain about his execution in some of this stuff. Like, he was really, like, keeping the web together. Like, he would make these, like, 3, 4, 5 multi-part step moves that just, like, made things end super neat for him, and it would all clean up for him. I'm like, this is some serious big brain shit, and almost unbelievably big brain for a taxi driver, like, in my head.
Well, I mean, I think I would have made similar-ish plays, but like, you have to remember, he has literally all the information and nobody else does.
And then, yeah, so I think that might be one of the highlights of the show for me.
Information is king, young man.
It is. Content is king. Information is...
Queen?
Queen. Sure. Get it, Queen. Yeah.
Slay.
So, Queen, slay. So that is one part of this I liked, is that he could play every side, because every side kind of like just had a piece of the pie. This dude was munching on the whole damn thing.
Exactly.
And it was really, really cool to see, like, and he also recognized, like, he doesn't know I know this other thing. Or
though he, like, unnecessarily involved way too many people.
How do you figure?
Like, Hippo Boy, he should have just said, this guy wants to actually kill you, like, bail.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, putting him in harm's way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, he got really lucky that Dobu's not really that bad of a guy.
Yeah, Dobu could have waxed him there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would have been it. So I don't know. You're right, but kind of what these crimes are involved. What's also weird. You have like two sides of the same underground gang situation seem to be fighting against each other. The dichotomy of the two conflicting forces are all kind of under the same umbrella organization. Like, what? It's just a rivalry between Yano and Dabu. At the end of the day, like...
yeah, but it's kind of... I think that's super reasonable, because Yano is the, like, young gun right? Like the younger, Dabu literally calls him his junior.
Oh, right,
and, like, for him to try to get over on a senior, like, that's extra bad in Japan.
Oh, that's a fair point. Okay, I'll take that. And we've shown Dabu's actually been at the game for like a decade of change, because there are moments where he's like, oh yeah, I haven't really cared about this X things for like 15 years, and he's clearly been doing this for a while. So yeah, so you have two warring individuals, each with their own underlings, so they must be high up enough to have like folks in the pocket, like Dabu has basically some cops in his pocket. Yano basically has traditional gangsters.
Sekiguchi.
Yes, the polar bear in a Russian tracksuit, which was rad as fuck.
Too sick.
Yano, basically, I wanted to put his head in a blender because his rapping.
I hated it.
Okay, I'll admit, he had a couple bars. I'll say.
Well, he got lucky that they started playing like good like hip hop beats behind him.
Yeah, that actually, because if he had no backing tracks,
pure a cappella, it'd be awful.
Yeah, at least with every time he spoke, they gave him a hip hop beat or like just basically a hook, and it works sometimes, hit or miss, mostly miss, but when it hit pretty good.
I guess let's talk characters, maybe.
We got to do it that way. The Durarara treatment, which again, it's kind of like a poor man's Durarara, but in a zoo, because it's all animals. So
a very poor man.
Yeah. So and
like
again,
a guy who can only afford porridge.
Real poor. Yeah. So we have Otokawa, the walrus, in the middle, and he's seeing a doctor at the moment. Goriki. I think his name.
Goriki.
Goriki.
And Goriki seems to be like sort of a neurologist in some regards, because all you see is head scans.
Yeah, they called him a GP at some point, so a general practitioner. So he must just be a general doctor
maybe
whatever. That's what they call.
I don't recall that, but Ricky's smarter than me, so.
Well, I mean,
I barely watched the show. It was very hard for me to watch.
I watched every beat. This shit was crazy.
It was not that good, man.
I thought it was good. I thought it was great.
Anyway, so Goriki is basically helping Otokawa with his sleep issues is like his main role.
Yeah, he like can't sleep, like true insomnia kind of shit.
And they became like homies.
Yeah, they tight.
Shirakawa is a alpaca who works for Goriki.
Yes.
And Kakihana is a friend of both Goriki and Otokawa, and he is played by a
monkey?
Some kind of monkey.
Yeah, like a white-haired monkey of some sort.
Like a sloth almost.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Well, actually, he might actually be a sloth.
Slothicky.
Yeah, he's a shithead, but I kind of liked him.
He's awful.
Yeah, he's a shithead of a person, but I liked him.
Very, very poor planning.
Yeah, because he lied about his income on like essentially Japanese on Tinder. Yeah. Japanese Hinge, whatever.
Ginge.
Yeah, Ginge, sure. And he said his salary to like 20 million yen.
Yeah.
What is that? Like it's $200K a year? Like in American cash?
That was his monthly
That's
income.
His monthly?
Yeah.
That's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Which it was like 50,000 before, right? I think that's what it was. It was something that's I can
which
believe
is like I think that's like 500 yen.
So he's definitely a part-timer.
$500, I mean, a month.
They called him a part-time janitor at some point. So not 200K a month, buddy. But yeah, so he's a shithead looking for love. He's kind of an older dude.
All the wrong places.
In like literally the wrong place, I would admit. But no, I guess I'm not disparaging Tinder, but it is at this point a cesspool of bots.
I mean, I would say Tinder looking for love. Yeah, kind of fucked.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but to each their own. So that's kind of Otokawa's inner circle at the moment, and he's then presented in his line of cabbie customers. We have I call him Taichi, but what was his last name? Kawasaba, the hippo dude. Is it Kawasaba? Is Taichi Kawasaba or something like that?
Yeah, it's like
I know his name's Taichi.
Hippo
Boy Supreme. That he's obsessed with wanting to go viral. That's kind of where it all starts. And
Which is funny because we are too. Let us go viral.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, baby.
Who do we have to blow up?
Yeah, who do we have to ride? Whose cab do we have to ride to go viral, baby? But yeah, he's just this.
My cabbie looked like so grumpy, so I took this picture with him and told him to smile.
So wholesome. So wholesome. Retweet me, tag me.
Retweets.
Hashtag me, send me out. It's okay. But yeah, he was a little too obsessed, and that kind of kicked shit off. That's what got Otokawa kind of involved with people looking for this gangster named Dobu. Yeah, Dobu. And
we're just going to call him literally every type of name under the sun because I like to call him Dabu. But I don't see how that would make sense because there's no way in his name.
Dobby the house monkey.
Yeah.
Yep. Because he was some kind of gorilla monkey kind of
He's
hybrid.
He's a baboon, bro.
He's a baboon. Well,
obviously
baboons don't have
a baboon.
Do baboons have tails that big and fluffy?
No.
Oh, well, okay then.
I don't think it's tough. It's not supposed to be fluffy, I don't think.
It's pretty fluffy tail. Neither here nor there. Literally the least important thing in this entire show.
Yes.
But
well,
he is. So why were they looking for him in the first place? Like everyone was just looking for him.
They thought he was involved for some reason in the high school girl's death.
And that's really what the first crime that is in the mind space of everyone in Tokyo. This high school girl from the Nerima prefecture or area is missing, and no one knows where they went, and they blame this Dobu dude, I think. And in that viral pic, guess who pops up in the background? Our good old baboon friend Dobu,
our baboon boy,
and it's shit starts to go haywire from there. So, I mean, I really did enjoy a lot of these characters. I mean, I don't know about you, but did you have a favorite that was at least got your goat? Like, it couldn't have been all trash. That's what I'm trying to get at. There's got to be some highlights for you, and I'll give you some of my lowlights for sure.
From characters, like, really, they weren't.
I thought
Cat Boy was interesting.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Tanaka
because
that was a wild card.
I wouldn't
situation.
say I've ever been addicted near as bad as he is to video games, but I've heard of people, like real life people, that have like essentially they ran companies and like started playing World of Warcraft and got so into it that they like started using money from the company to fuel their World of Warcraft.
Microtransactions are no joke, dude.
Like, and then end up like not working anymore and killing their business, like just really wild shit.
Yeah, and Tanaka is the kind of guy, I mean, I resonate. He's a programmer for a game company, pretty rad, and I think what was the game called? Zuda or Zudon? Zulenda or whatever.
Zulandia.
It's essentially Farmville, but with animals, and it's
basically Clash of Clans, bro.
Oh, okay. I never played Clash of Clans.
I played a lot of Clash of Clans.
Did you ever put money into Clash of Clans?
I didn't put money into Clash of Clans, but I put a lot of money into Walking Dead Road to Survival. Lot.
Really? So, I mean, as long as you keep it on lock, it could be fun, but...
Yeah. I find all those games are really, really fun until it feels like there's some point where it feels like such a chore where you have to get on, or else like either your clan's mad at you, your faction's mad at you, whatever you want to say. Like it actually happened to me with both Clash of Clans and Walking Dead, because funnily enough in Clash of Clans, we were like the first people to really figure out the wars.
Oh.
This was like a long, long time. This is like when that came out. So this was probably, I don't know, sophomore year of college, maybe junior year of college.
Shit, that's almost
so we were like a top 15 clan for a little while, just because we like figured it out before everyone else.
Yeah.
But then, there'd be like, I was a clan leader, and then eventually like people would just be like,
toot your horn more, why don't you?
They were just begging you to be on constantly, and I'm like, dude, I literally can't just be on all the time, man.
And this is kind of shit that Tanaka was talking about. Like, these games where it's like, you need friends, money, or time to get ahead, just like real life. It's supposed to be an escape from reality, not an augmentation of it. So, and then he just started pouring cash into it.
Yeah, he ended up like spending like $50,000 on this stupid game.
$50,000 over the course of like a couple years, but that's still a lot.
And they said like he couldn't, if you sold his account, he could only get like a couple thousand out.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Right. And what his interesting story was, he kind of always had this, what he called a sickness of just wanting to get ahead in some capacity, but in a way that felt like monetarily, or you willing to go over above and beyond to get ahead socially. It started with him, and as a kid, everyone was collecting erasers, and he tried to buy someone with his dad's credit card.
No, that's actually a lie. You remember that?
Oh, no, yeah, he's like, no, actually it's a lie. Yeah.
He would like tell us the story, and then he'd say, no, that's actually a lie. And you're like, well, tell us the actual story then, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, he was definitely like back and forth. He truly was a sick guy. Like he was. He tried to buy this eraser for like $1,000 online.
Yeah.
And his dad kicked the shit out of him when he checked his CC, and he's like, dude, what are you fucking doing? It's like an eraser for $1,000.
Yeah, I think one thing that's tough for me to like understand is like, of course, $1,000 is a lot, but when it was even $100, he was like freaking out a little bit. And so unless I can get an idea of like the like financial situation of families in Japan, it's hard for me to understand why he would be like literally sweating bullets over $100.
You also have to understand that at that time he was in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cash for him. And he's also
but that almost makes it worse. When I was in 3rd grade, I had no idea how much any money was.
Oh, so you're saying he already had a concept of cash, which I think to me implies that his family was like not well off enough that they didn't have to concern themselves with cash, right? Like
I don't think anyone at 3rd grade knows how much $100 is.
Unless their parents are always saying like, whoa, hey, like
$5 is a lot of money, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, right.
If you look back, your ass.
I got a gray male cockatoo because it was the cheapest one looking back, but my dad made some bullshit excuse, right? So I think his family kind of had a concept of money a little bit.
Okay.
So maybe he like knew that this is about to go fucking down.
I must have missed the part where he said that he got the specific bird because it was cheapest.
He said, like, looking back, my dad said that he wanted me to like appreciate something despite its aesthetics, but in reality, I think what it was the cheapest one in the store.
Okay, so, that makes that whole thing a little bit more like
so that's why I'm
salient.
Like, right? It's like my parents are always buying my brother those otaku games, so this must be cheap by comparison. So he had this weird concept of money because his parents must be at least somewhat conscious enough. So
I was just thinking like $30 is like nothing.
I know.
Like even when I was young, like through a course of a year, you'd get more than $30.
Yeah, right. At some point, allowances will give you something, right?
Well, it's just like somebody at some point will give you enough, like at some like event.
Right, exactly. But this girl, he kind of grew up with that sense of like, I need to pour in resources no matter the cost to get ahead. And the guy that was bidding against him, that Ditch-11, Ditch Ichi, was also the dude in the game years later that was kicking his ass. And that's why I started pouring money into it. Like, I gotta beat this motherfucker.
I thought his username was Ditch.
No,
11.
the guy that was selling the eraser was Ditch_1111. No refunds, no returns. And the number 1 spot in the Zuden game that he was playing was Ditch-1111. And he was like, he snapped. He was just like, fuck this guy, fuck everything. I'm just going to go all in. And he finally got that thing he wanted and like on his phone, and he almost got run over by our boy, Otakawa, and he lost his phone. And he like just totally like 3 years of spending all his time and energy to get one rare item, and he fucking snaps because it's gone. And he just totally goes absolute AWOL.
I will say that seemed like, because like I said, I've played a lot of these games. It's very unrealistic that you would open a pack, get this character, your phone would drop in water, and then the character would be gone off your like account. There is like a cloud-based like portion of it. He recovers his account, and for whatever reason, everything's the same except for that one character.
Except for that one Dodo's fucking gone.
Because I knew you could always contact like their whatever support and they can literally go back in time and look at all your opens.
Yeah, right.
And like the second you open something, it's already been like logged.
That guy Tanaka was mentally gone. He had no sense of reason, to the point where the reason why he got involved, he had nothing to do with any of this crime shit or the mystery that was being uncovered or anything. And he basically goes to, and the same day he loses his fucking super rare dodo item, his cockatoo dies. That's some cruel shit. That's some universe cruel shit.
I thought the cockatoo died because he had like stopped taking care of it.
Maybe, but he also had that line saying, it's not like it was my fault. Cockatoo's natural lifespan is about 15 years. This makes sense. It could have happened this day he was old. So he like didn't blame anyone, but when he went
that just seems like to me he's trying to make an excuse why he let his freaking bird die.
Oh yeah, I can see that too. So he goes to bury it and he finds Dobu's gun.
So coincidentally,
that one is a little bit iffy for me.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
that was like this
wild.
Is weirdly coincidental, but
too coincidental.
Yeah,
like, so much so that the entire show knees buckle at the weight of this insane coincidence.
I mean, the fact that like it's a coincidence, yes, astronomical as it may be, but that's why we're looking at this story, right? I don't know.
Astronomical.
Oh, come on. I'm not going to let that one thing we can go back and listen to the Durara episode, and there has to be some contrivances we let go in that show.
But the difference is, in a show that gives you like the supernatural, like there is some reason that all of these things are happening in Durara, and it's similar to Baki, right?
Yeah.
They give this supernatural thing where like all these bad guys are coming to the city for some reason.
Right. And you're saying that if they were to say the supernatural is its reason, you'd be okay with that contrivance.
Right. I mean,
okay.
Like it does excuse it away if you're like, there's something going on.
But isn't that just black box storytelling? Like you're allowed to have one black box in a story and just be like, okay, I accept it. They told me this. I could poke holes in it, but I'm not going to. I think this is that gun. This is literally Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, but they don't do that. They just say he finds it by pure coincidence. It's like, that's insane.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This gun was a literal and figurative Chekhov's gun.
Right.
It had yet to be fired up at that point. We saw the gun. It's going to be fired. It just happened to fall in someone else's hands to do it. So I'm willing to give that one black box. It's not a black box. It's a silver box buried in the park. How's that?
It's just very like ridiculous.
Of course it's ridiculous. Everyone's an animal. It's already ridiculous. How's that?
Well, they're not animals.
They're pretty animalistic. I mean, they're alpacas and gorillas, and this is a cat. And yeah, so he snaps. So he's this rogue agent just roaming the city, like looking. He
was a fun aspect of the show, though.
Yeah, right.
That's probably why I liked him. Is he was just like pure chaos.
Yes, and he wasn't kind of Joker where he had the supernatural power to show up at the right time. There was a reason why he showed up everywhere he did, right? Some GPS usage, some clever usage of smartphones, and then, he
turned into freaking Agent freaking 42 all of a sudden, or whatever it is.
Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Holy shit. Do a backflip. But yeah, he is roaming around trying to kill Otakawa because he blames him for everything. He's like, it may be God, but at least this time I can blame somebody.
Yeah.
That fucking walrus. I'm gonna get him. So as you've got him like all these threads everywhere. Do I think it's as good as Durara? No, absolutely not.
If you had, I would have probably ended the podcast forever.
And here we are. Thank you for listening overall. Class is now out of session. Summer vacation forever. But no, clearly not good as Durara. I'll give it that. It made an earnest attempt at all of these webs. I don't think it was complex, but I do think it just was simpler, but they didn't overstep themselves. They didn't take off more meat than they could chew. I think that what they did present was solid. There was not many details that were left floating in the wind, right? At least in the mystery aspect. Even tiny imagery, even little things were all kind of like, okay, they had a thing for all of this. There's a reason why all this happened.
I think yes, but only because they like at the very end are like, there's a reason everyone's a different animal. You know what I mean?
Are we there yet?
I mean, we're like 35 minutes in.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But I'm just saying, like, it really is the crux of the show because it makes the entire show. I mean, so we're going to start into spoilers here, but the entire show seems really freaking stupid while you're watching it because they'll be like, how could you possibly tell that's Kakihana? And like a picture of it, like obviously Kakihana.
Yes, we're like, why? This is dumb. Of course you could tell it's him.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell that's him.
And then there's this scenario where, what's his freaking cat name? Tanaka is wearing a skull mask and just like shooting up a club.
And then everyone's
like, it's Babu. And we're ever like, what? It looks nothing
Dobu? Like
Dobu.
Yeah, and that hit me when they go to the Halloween event in Shibuya.
Yeah.
And he's wearing the same skull mask, and everyone else is wearing the same skull mask, but they're all vastly different animals.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck? Wait, hold on. What the fuck's going on here? We saw it in a couple other places.
That was too ham-fisted to me.
Yeah, that was the moment I was like, because I had the theory, but I'm like, I won't entertain it yet.
Tell me your theory and when you came up with it.
I came up with the theory around the moment we saw the first instance of saying, like, oh, that's Dobu, right? Then I'm like, okay, there. Like, there's no way that this is not the thing, but I'm gonna let this ride out. And then he basically said, oh yeah, I'm gonna wear the skull mask on Halloween because it's the only time around that I can walk around. And you see him wearing it in the diner. I'm like, okay, this just solidified some stuff. And then episode 9, I'm like, okay, this is it. This is the truth. So the first time Tanaka was said to be Dabu in the video, that's when I was like, are these people really animals?
Yeah, they're either animals or completely dumb as shit.
Right. Yeah. And I was willing to believe that they're dumb as shit. Like, maybe this world is so used to other animals, they just kind of are blind to the concept. I was willing to let it go.
I think, and they really tried to hammer it home once Goriki started like thinking he had some weird special power of like auras.
Okay. Yeah.
Odokawa.
Yeah.
And he showed him like a bunch of pictures that were just like blatantly obvious, and I'm just like, what? What's happening here?
And I think also too for me is I found a little weird that like, why? Also, the cockatoo thing was a little weird. Why was there a bird?
Yeah, there's pets for these animals. Like, there was a dog at some point, too.
Yeah, and someone was eating meat.
Yeah.
I was like, what fucking meat could that be? Like,
well, this is a world. They eat meat in Beastars, too.
Well, yeah, but that was taboo. This guy was eating it at a fucking restaurant. Like, yeah, so...
It's true, he was eating a steak.
I was like, this is weird.
So my theory was way back in, like, episode 3 when he meets the brothers.
The Daimon brothers?
The Daimon brothers.
Daimon brothers, yeah.
Because they had said, like, taxi drivers are scumbags. And I'm like, that's weird. And then you see this flashback of their memory of their parents dead in a car crash with a taxi driver. And it's like a human freaking arm sitting there. And I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah, okay, that's fair, too. Because I remember in episode 1, Odokawa's flashbacks, like something about... He was asked something by Hippo Boy, and his flashback too, thinking back, was also humans.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think much of it. I was just like, okay, whatever. He's definitely had some traumatic past. But it was definitely, as I saw more, I was like, this is really, really strange.
And then it was just like really obvious when they kept showing like freaking CT scans of his brain. I'm like, this dude's clearly fucked.
That's a clearly human brain. Oh yeah, he's clearly a fucked up dude. But another one too is that he like, Odokawa was talking about, it's human nature. Wait, what? He said human nature. I'm like, that human shouldn't be a thing. But also, what also did it for me that kind of started to tweak my brain out a bit, the comedy duo was called the Homo sapiens.
Well, that's double weird, though. If they're humans, why would you name it Homo sapiens?
I guess comedy group, like, hey, we're the humans. They're also not a good comedy group. Let's get that. Let's don't get that twisted. Baba and what's-his-face were not good. At all.
Baba and Warthog.
Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I do, like, in certain animes, it's very clear that they're trying to make certain characters look like frogs or look like yada yada. So, like...
Yeah.
It is human nature, I think, to try to...
Give that. Yeah.
Give credence to the fact that these humans look like a rat, or this guy looks like a horse.
Exactly. Like that person's very mousy, or like this person definitely looks very gorilla-esque, right?
But like, I do think that they clearly wanted that to be a big hitter. And like, just for me, since I realized it from episode 3, it was just like, okay.
For me, it was a big hitter, not for the reason they wanted me to. Like, do I think it was a good twist? Yeah, I think it was a pretty good twist, all things considered. The reason why, we can get to it in a second, but look, the one thing, we said it ad nauseum, the Beastar stuff, and it's important to bring it up here for a different reason. The use of anthropomorphized characters is not an unconscious choice. If it were, that'd be the dumbest. It's clearly a dumb thing. So at first I'm like, there's a reason why they're doing it, but none of these characters made any mind that there are in fact animals.
Yeah,
except for Otokawa
at all.
Otokawa was saying under his breath. Yeah, Otokawa was saying under his breath, like, "Oh yeah, she's the only alpaca around here. Where did that monkey go?" He was the only guy referring to anyone else as their species, and everyone else would call guy, woman, boy, girl, and that's it. And that's what also tipped me off a bit. To me, this is the only time I've ever seen a proper subversion of the use of animal characters in a show. It subverted that, right? It was because there
what
was
about BNA?
That was the worst of the 3 shows we've ever watched. It was
a bad show, but I mean, there was beast people and normal people.
That's not a subversion. They did the most milquetoast adaptation of that. It goes that, Beastar season 1 just above it, Beastar season 2 a little above that, and I would say ODDTAXI's a little bit up here. That's a good use because it subverted that trope that's been going around a lot and really kind of pulled the wool, so to speak, over your eyes. And it was pretty cool. And I liked its usage.
I would surmise that probably a lot of people didn't put the pieces together. And so that's probably why we're seeing such a large, let's just say, outcrying of praise for the show. But like for me, since I knew from like episode 3 something was fucky with the animals.
Yeah.
I
admittedly
it just wasn't. It didn't impact me when they're like, "This is what happened."
And I think we've talked about it probably earlier in the life of this podcast. I have a tendency to allow myself to go along for the ride. As we've done this more, it's hard to backseat an analytical. It's hard to like kind of let yourself just like I'm on rails. Keep your arms and legs inside at all times. Just kind of enjoy it. Not to say we don't enjoy shows. Obviously we do, but
it's like Perfect Blue that we watched a couple weeks ago, me and Pat bought.
Yeah. Like
you want to analyze it, but it's just so wacky and like there's no real answers to any of these questions.
Right.
And so like things like that are really really tiring.
Of course.
And then like shows like this where it's like if you really just follow the very easy hints, at least to me. I mean, and like once again, as a podcaster, an anime podcaster like we are, we do like have to dig into these shows and try to compare them to other shows. We have to do, some compares, contrasts, who we think would like it, who we think wouldn't like it, why this show's good, why it's bad, good characters, bad characters. And that does tend to like make maybe a show without like super originality, like it doesn't allow it to shine very well, I guess, at least for me.
I'm starting to, this show, I think, maybe I did it inadvertently because while what I do kind of now is I have like theories logged up, but I don't give them like, oh, this is the one, right? I texted you episode 9 because I'm like, okay, this is the moment where I realize of the theories, that's what's going on in this mystery. This is it. Like, okay, I have all the pieces. I'm good.
Okay, but what was a mystery? There was like no mystery to me. The only thing I still don't really get is why he was talking to some random force in his house in episode 1.
So it wasn't a random force. It was the cat. He had a cat.
Right, but like, why not just show the fucking cat?
Because if you like, it was a blue-eyed cat. The victim, Mitsuki, was a blue-eyed cat in his own mind. It was just kind of this, I like that a lot. It was kind of an artistic decision to have everyone thought that a blue-eyed cat girl was locked in his house, when in reality, that was the truth, because everyone else was not a human, was not animals. They were all humans. So they were all like this this girl who Otokawa was seeing as a blue-eyed cat chick, when reality was a blue-eyed cat in his house. So everyone's like, you have this cat girl in your house, don't you? And he never like confirmed or I guess he denied it, but everyone was suspicious of him.
No.
In the end of the day. That's what it was. I think it was a fun artistic choice. I liked it a lot.
It's a wink, but it's not.
It's
like
a wink. Sure, it's an artistic little thing.
I don't know.
The real mystery was that fucking the fried chicken girl was out here murdering people. Did you catch that?
Fried chicken girl.
The green-eyed cat that replaced Mitsuki in the idol trio. Did you miss all that?
Fried chicken girl.
Yes. There are 3 people in Mystery Kiss.
Mitsuya's replacement.
Yes. Is it Mitsuki or Mitsuya?
Mitsuya.
Mitsuya. Okay, yeah. Mitsuya's replacement killed Mitsuya by strangling her when she was going to meet the Calico girl. And she said, I might just murder one more person and make myself a solo act. So she had alluded that she already killed the Calico chick. And then she was also killing all of her other witnesses. That's why she got in the taxi at the end of at the end of the whole series. She was on the phone with her ma.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like that was the real kind of solution to all of that. She killed Mitsuya. Basically, they covered it up because she knew that the dog chick was going to go meet her. And they're like, I didn't do anything yet. I had planned to kill her because I wanted the spotlight, and you got to help me out. And Yamamoto was like, I'm going to call some thugs up to go get this body out. They disposed of the body, and the deal to do that was taking half of Mystery Kiss's earnings. And use their people. Those Badger games, that Badger play, I had to look that up. I didn't realize it's a real thing.
Well, that sounds like Honey Pot.
It's basically a honey pot. You suck them dry. You make them either take it all, take all their money and bounce, or what she didn't know is Kakihara was basically poor as fuck.
Right.
And so collected debt from the gang that was using her in the first place. So that whole cycle was a thing.
But yeah,
at the end of the day,
what about this was kind of like thinly veiled, but once you find out what happened, it was pretty solid.
Yeah.
The skunk boy.
Yes.
What was his name?
Skunk boy.
Imai?
Irami? I
think it was like Imai.
Imai? There's an R in there somewhere. Irami or something like that? I don't know.
Whatever. Skunk boy.
Skunk boy, yeah.
He, in the very first time we see him when he's talking to Nikaido, he tells him that Mitsuya is bad at dancing all of a sudden.
He caught it.
Yeah, he like knew because he's such a super fan.
Yeah.
That there was something different.
Yes.
So that was a good little naughty.
I honestly thought
that was a little naughty.
I thought that that the body, the going missing and the mask on the black cat chick was that they had snagged her to be forcibly in this idol group. So I didn't quite catch that. I was like, bad dancer, like, what if she's not at, like, maybe she's just changing, maybe they're like,
well, you never
holding her captive or something like that.
You never would have been able to figure it out until the end when you knew there was 2 black cats.
Yeah, right. Then I caught him like, okay, that's probably the much more obvious answer.
I will say, kind of weird, because there's only black cats in in Otakawa's brain.
Yeah, right.
Like in real life, they'd be 2 very distinct human beings.
They'd probably find someone maybe different enough, like same enough.
A body double?
Essentially, yeah, a body double, but she didn't, I don't know, she wasn't gymnastic, figure skating, ballet, track team trained.
Right.
So she's a absolute klutz that loves eating fucking fried chicken. Like, you gain 5 kilos, you're fucking fired.
She's like, I know.
All right, I will. And she's like, no, I'm not, because I'll kill your other chicks too. And you don't do it. I'll fucking do it. But where I was going with all that, this show has made me reevaluate how I evaluate shows, I think.
This show has done it?
Well, yeah, because it's kind of like what you just said, right? I think a lot of people are blown away by this show because of that big drop. And I do think that Odd Taxi's that big drop of what Otakawa had.
In quality.
Oh my God. I'm going to flip this table.
I did think I was kind of thinking, what if the way that, it's kind of like aesthetically blocky and like, it's almost not solid art, right? What if that's part of his like visuals?
Oh,
like
the lens by which his brain damage kind of did everything.
Because it's like there's like a specific aesthetic to this show,
which I enjoyed a lot. It was
I did
pretty
too.
cool.
And like the way the cars would like, I don't know. That almost looked like South Park a little bit. How there'd be like a piece of paper going into a parking spot and like doing that little shake thing and then leaving.
Yeah, right. It's whatever decision was made to do this aesthetic was, I think, very smart for the story and the characters.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. I'll finish it out because, well, at least this thought. The one thing I'm thinking is, how do I evaluate a show while still enjoying it in the way I think that they were intending? Because I think I used to do this. I used to get blindsided by stuff that now feels obvious, and I don't really want that for myself, right? So I think what I need to do is try not to be analytical and do my best to shut my brain off going through it. And then once it's just kind of done, be it a season or a whole show entirely fed to me, then and only then do I flip on the PhD wrinkles and go back and try to evaluate it from a professorial perspective, right? It's probably hard, nay, impossible. I don't know, but because I hit it later than you did, this drop, and I think it was because there was that moment where I was just like, all right, let's just see what they got. And then the second where I got more details, I couldn't help but put them together.
Yeah.
I couldn't help it. So
I don't know. It's like, I think, and we've talked about this, I think, in the past, but
yeah,
I read like detective books, spy books, stuff like that. So I'm always trying to figure out the plot beforehand, and good writers do enough to give you enough red herrings and enough like plausible plot lines to where you're not going to get it right, like intentionally, because they're obfuscating the true plot.
Yeah.
And so I am looking for that, but in 14 episodes, that's not really realistic. And, like a 700-page book, yeah, of course they can obfuscate like half the plot until nearly halfway through.
Is this a byproduct of absorbing enough narratives, absorbing enough tropes, themes, motifs, and storytelling that it's... Because would you say that this piecing together of the real solution or the story as from the rip, is that an active endeavor for you, or do you find that just kind of a passive thing? Because I find that for myself, it becomes passive at some point when I get enough details.
I mean, it's passive, but I mean, of course, it takes active like wrinkle usage to like try to figure something out. I mean, the other thing I thought that was kind of strange about this, just like there was plenty of opportunities for Otokawa to just go to the police and get this stuff done, instead of going to apparently the only two police officers in the entire effing city.
That's probably my biggest gripe with
this story. And they're related.
Yeah, my biggest gripe with this whole story is, we have the police in our back pocket. No, you fucking don't. You have one cop in all of Tokyo, even if it's just the prefecture, right? What are you guys smoking? Like, is there only two cops in this entire city?
And they happen
city?
to be brothers, and one happens to be an absolute dipshit.
Yeah. And yeah, Lil Damon, he's a dipshit, but he's the lovable little dipshit.
But like, what's happening here?
An awful cop, like good sense of justice, real good sweet boy. But man, he's not a bright cookie. He is not bright. Yeah, man, like that was maybe the contrivance I'm not willing to accept. Is just they seem to be the only two cops ever in play.
Yeah.
Until the end when we have this giant chase.
Yeah.
All of a sudden. And no one found it weird that two non-cops in the leading cop car, and there's four other cop cars in like a flying V formation. No one pulled up like, hey, wait, these guys aren't fucking cops. Like, who are we following? Like, this is not cool. Or maybe they were following him. I don't know. At the end of the day, like that's something that was not cool, because that was a pretty big linchpin of the story. Is there's those cop being involved 100% and exclusive every situation that involved cops or just them. So. But yeah, this show,
everyone was just like so poor with money, and like, well, just for instance, there's this plot line about Goriki's just gonna shut down his clinic so that Shirakawa doesn't get hurt, like doesn't go to jail for stealing medicine, and I'm like, that seems stupid.
I thought that was only temporary. Like, he was just trying to make sure.
No, he was just going to, like, dissolve his business. Literally.
Maybe I missed that detail.
And the only reason he was able to reopen at all was because
Otokawa made a deal for both of them to be Gucci, essentially.
Yeah,
with Dabo. So.
But, like.
Yeah.
not only that, I mean, you aren't going to just notice all of a sudden that all of your drugs are missing and nobody would get in trouble for that. Like, it was just such a strange plot point. Like, what is your possible idea here of like why Shirakawa is worth enough as an employee?
Well, if you think about it, he has like 2 employees. Like,
so the other one's worth dog shit in comparison. Shut down.
Apparently
your
not, because
job?
she's the one who caught the pill discrepancy, right?
I'm just saying.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You're willing to shut down your business and screw this other chick out of a job and yourself in order to save this llama. That was just dumb.
Alpaca.
And then dude wins the lottery just to buy 300,000 CDs of this one group.
Now hold on, that's some idol superfan shit. I can see that.
Post it online.
Now that was dumb.
The actual numbers and everything, like on his ticket.
I think you have to. Yeah. Okay. One, that's actually just him being an actual dumbass.
Yeah.
Like, that has nothing to do with the story, but it does, like, his idiocy definitely comes into play.
And then there's this point where he now that he's going to be rich, he says, Odokawa, let me give you some money. And he goes, nah. And he goes, all right, fine. How about you come by the place I work and you can drink and eat and do all this stuff for free? Yeah. What does that mean? Is he footing the bill, or is he just somehow not putting it on the freaking register?
I think he's just putting it on his tab. Like, hold on. This, we'll pay it. Like, I'm going to pay this when I get it.
That's nuts. But that is nuts.
But, again, so we can establish he's not a bright guy. Yeah. Because he also said this was back when he won it, right? Wasn't he going to wait, like,
till Christmas?
2 months till Christmas? That's a debt. He was like Dom Perignon Rosé. Like,
it's also dumb as shit to wait that long.
Well, yeah, because he wants to time it until the CD debuts of Mystery Kiss's debut.
And then
that's some idol superfan shit. I can at least get behind that.
Somehow he wins the lottery and gets to keep all 1 billion rather than like being taxed at 50+%.
I don't know what Japanese.
It can't be like you get all your winnings.
I guess that's fair. I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but they do let him keep a shit ton. Did they say he kept all 1 billion?
No, because he gave money to Odokawa's chick, his like.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
caregiver lady.
Oh yeah. But so.
But I mean, their whole plan was to steal the $1 billion.
Right. They were gonna steal all because they just let him have it all. Fascinating. Yeah. I don't know how Japanese lotteries work, but
I guess that's like really splitting hairs at this point.
Yeah,
but
right.
It was really frustrating for me.
Okay, I mean, that's like,
fine. Taxes mean nothing in this world.
They don't in an animal world. Sorry, it is the human world. I wanted to educate folks on, because I did a little research on what they based, like, why the fuck did brain damage make him see everyone as animals? They exaggerated for a narrative flair, but visual agnostia is agnostia is a real thing, and agnonia, I don't know. But there are 2 types. There's the one that he has where he can recognize the existence and the corporeal nature of an object, so he could like avoid it and interact with it, but can't discern its form, is called appreciative visual agnosia. And basically he had that flavor, which is a real documented when you have a temporal or frontal lobe kind of damage, which you would have had from a car wreck, because what happened to him in his past, he had a pretty shit fam life. His mom was his dad was a deadbeat, and had a mistress. He's a drunk beat. He would beat him drunk, and he would drunk beat. Yeah, whatever. He had a mistress. He was a shitty guy. Mom loaded dad in the back of the car. Lil Odokawa was always teased for being this kind of chunky dude, and he just like had this diary, and he was like, I just wish, I don't like people. They make me anxious. I like animals. They call me a walrus. Sometimes I wish I was a walrus. And obviously this is where they do the big reveal, but I mean, he gets brain damage from a car wreck, double suicide into the river in the wharf, and he pops out, and that's how he sees everyone as animals, which I kind of can understand that, because like we saw at the end, everyone was kind of like looked like they're animals. Maybe he just exaggerated it in his own mind. So I just like, I don't know. I just like the use of it as just the way his kind of dysmorphia just perceived the world. And
Yeah, I mean, like, that's not a part of it that I was struggling with. Like, I thought that was a fairly reasonable, like, solution and use of that trope.
Yeah.
Right? Like, definitely better than, like, yeah, they actually are animals.
Yeah, right. And then if it ended up with them being animals and they just never make any mention or anything, bad, 3000% bad. There was no use for this narrative trope at all. Yeah. So, all in all, I had a very good time with it. I'm going to give it a score Ethan's not going to agree with, but it had its problems, but I am also a sucker for self-contained one-season stories, so I really enjoyed that. I'm going to give ODDTAXI an 86. Yeah, I know you're going to throw your head back at that one.
Wow.
Yeah. There were some contrivances I was not a fan of. The cop thing was very weird and very convenient. The gun thing I can forgive because he had a reason to go bury that bird in the park.
Wild.
But
they didn't pick that exact tree.
I'm just saying, well, like, we've seen, it's just, it could have been anybody, just haven't picked that one. There's no reason. It just happened to be that way, And the show's about astronomical odds. Like, Otokawa picked random numbers from his picture in a locker room, and it happened to win Skunk Boy 1 billion yen.
I mean, that happens, though. You don't just pick a random fucking tree and find a gun under it.
Dude, that's like picking one number to win the, like, I don't know, because, like, that's like picking the right tree 7 times. 7 times in a list of, I don't know. I see him finding the gun much more likely than what Otokawa did with the lottery.
Japan. Like, how many guns are even in Japan?
Not many.
So, like, that's trillion times more insane.
We could go
anyway,
on. Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and give it originally I was considering a 72.
Okay.
And I've decided to bump it up 1 point for the OP, just because it was like actual fire.
The OP was a slapper.
It was one of the only times that I wanted to listen to the OP every episode.
It really was soothing. It was just chill, jazz hop, and I was very much for it. So you're gonna give it a 73?
Yeah.
Jeezy Pete, man.
It is higher than I put both seasons of Beastars.
Yeah, I think this is probably higher than I put. Hopefully, we have now.
I can look at it.
We can. Right, thank you very much to our fan Saint. He had told us in the Discord, he tabulated all of the scores we had given all of the shows we've ever done. Did he like put them alphabetical or in order that we did them?
In the order we did them.
Okay.
Obviously.
Well, I'm saying. I mean, so what did I give Beastars last week? That's how much we need this list. I don't even remember last week.
You gave it a 77.
I gave Beastars season 2 to 77.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And what did I give Beastars? Because I want to redact that score. It needs to be lower than.
You gave it a 74.
Oh, I am on fucking brand. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I gave season 1 a 69. A funny number.
Why? What's funny about it?
Just funny.
Yeah, it's like the same one upside down though.
And the other last season or whatever, season 2, I gave it a 67.
You actually hated. I guess you did mention that you hated.
Almost like I knew what I was doing.
Listen, we are men of our word and professors in our own right. So I mean, this one, put it on the books.
Yeah.
86. I really, really liked it. It was self-contained. It was definitely had a high art feel. Like they wanted it to be like you're saying, ooh, it's fucking high art. Ooh.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's not as bad as anything I've watched from Satoshi Kon. So
there you go. That's fair.
I mean, that guy just thinks he's a freaking bee's knees.
Yeah.
And you read the funniest part is you read these reviews for these shows, and they're like, "Oh my god, masterpiece! I don't know what happened, but masterpiece." And it's like that's not a good.
This wasn't and you know what I liked in it too is it was a mature show without too gory, too sexualized. It had a lot of mature stuff. I mean, the stuff between Baba and the Warthog. I mean,
what score did you give it?
What?
This one?
86. Lock it down. Oh, or we're actually this is wise. I think this is how we got to do it.
Well, I don't know what I gave it though.
73, 72, but +1 for the fire OP.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I can remember 2 seconds ago, not 2 episodes ago.
See, I can't even do it 2 seconds ago.
So we need this list. So thank you, Saint, for doing the painstaking work of tabulating this stuff. We'll get average and mean scores. I mean,
that's easy enough.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. So I honestly think that's it. Thank you guys for coming to class and listening to this ODDTAXI episode. Links in all of the places you get your podcast fix. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Obligatory. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna work from home tomorrow. I'm just gonna pump them out.
I'm just gonna
do it. I'm just stuck it up. But then you get another week of just like absolute blasting an episode a day on YouTube, which some people seem to like. So
c'est la vie.
C'est la vie. If you want to give us a little monetary love, only if you can, patreon.com/weebology. $1 and up gets you into our Discord with all of our past guests and lovely folk like Saint, who did all. I'm just gonna. He deserves it. He's doing some serious Mad Lad energy work out here. And $3 and up gets you Syllabus Sidebar, our lo-fi, high vibe, sometimes anime, sometimes not, sometimes visual sideshow where we talk about life or experiment with visual shit. So, yeah, I'm going to go home and watch that Marvel What If. I'm really excited for that.
If?
That's some Marvel multiverse of madness stuff that I'm going to unravel with my high. I feel my wrinkles are calling for such an endeavor to unravel those mysteries.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of over that kind of shit now.
You're over the Marvel thing?
Yeah.
Wow. Too good for it.
Too good for that bastardization of
I think Phase 4 might be your thing, the multiverse thing.
Kind of doubt it.
Well,
it's in the wrong period of history, unfortunately.
Well, I'll convince you yet.
We'll see.
Well, until I can get Ethan to come unravel the mysteries of the universe from the comfort of our couches. I'm Ricky.
And I'm Spirit Guy.
Nameless. And this has been Weebology. Deuces. We're going to keep this name thing rolling.
I literally forgot what I called myself.
Nothing. You were nameless. You were he without a name.
I said something about spirit at some point.
You were just a spiritual entity.